Hey. What's up, everybody? Kamari Ellis here. This is the Finance Rebel Show. This is our daily broadcast, right? The Finance Rebel Show is all about increasing your financial IQ. The Finance Rebel Show is also about talking about, learning about, exploring how to rebel against the traditional economic system, because the traditional economic system is all about slavery to a certain degree, right? That slavery, poor slavery, financial slavery, whatever you want to call it. One of the first things you got to realize is that you can't fall for the trap of materialism and consumerism. And the second thing, which many times I would say is the first thing, is you must develop an investor mindset, right? So today, it's the beginning of the new year, the ninth day of the new year. People are starting to think about taxes. So when people start thinking about taxes, you start to see all the janky stuff flying around social media. You're starting to see all the commercials on TV and on social media now, right? Pitching to you. If you want to get a big refund, come to us. If you want to do this, right? If you want to get a big refund, come to us. But we also know that every time tax season rolls around, sales start going up. Whose sales? Sales of people like used car lots, people like furniture stores, and people that rent furniture. All their sales go up. Why? Because when people get their tax refund, they take it and they spend it on nonsense. I'm speaking generally. So listen, if it don't apply to you, let it fly, right? But generally speaking, people waste their tax refunds. Generally speaking, a lot of times people fall for a lot of shenanigans when it comes time to do their taxes, when it comes time to file their tax returns. Oftentimes it's illegal. That's never a good thing. It's never a good thing to do anything illegal, what we call the alphabet boys from where I'm from. The IRS, the FBI, CIA, Department of Justice, all of them, they all work together, right? Listen, the IRS works in tangent with every agency out there. Sometimes during the show, as many of you who watch me often, I will go and quote the cases that I see where people get jacked up by doing some janky stuff with their tax preparers. So let's think about this. Wesley Snipes, Lauren Hill, Fat Joe, all of them went to jail because they had a bad advisor, because they had a bad tax advisor. Probably shouldn't even call them a tax advisor at all. But today I said, well, you know what? I consider myself a steward when I'm doing all these things, when I'm doing these broadcasts. So I said, all right, well, let's talk about this. What should you be thinking about and looking for when you pick somebody to do your tax returns, right? So today's topic is top 5 questions to ask a tax pro before hiring. All right. I think I got the spelling different on Facebook and YouTube. I'll change that later. Okay. But today, top 5 questions to ask a tax pro before hiring. So as you're watching this, if you are on IG, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, share this out. Share this out with somebody who does a lot of janky stuff. All right. For those who are watching, I'm going to go through my presentation and then I'll come back and I'll answer any questions. Today will be a short one because I got a lot of work to do. I'm a little backed up. All right. So, question number one. Question number one. First thing you should ask your potential tax preparer when you're looking to hire: what's your educational background? Where did you go to school? Did you go to school? And listen, there's no judgment in this, right? Because I know people who went to school as art majors and that are grade A, grade A tax pros. They take it very seriously. You don't need a whole lot of quote unquote educational information to be a great tax pro. However, I do have to give the slight edge to people like myself who majored in finance, right? Or who majored in economics or majored in accounting, because they tend to understand the money system overall a lot better. They understand how money flows. They understand the functions of government. They understand money overall. And what I find in my community, Black community, that the tax professionals actually the first line of defense when it comes to financial literacy, financial education. So the better off our tax pros off in our community, I believe the better the community is going to be, because typically a lot of times, again, we're speaking in generalities. A lot of times we're not seeing any other financial or money professionals unless, again, there's a sale to be made, unless there's big money to be made. And I think that's the wrong way to go. However, tax pros do get paid for filing and preparing the returns, but typically that's kind of the scope. But the better they're equipped, I think the better to teach, the better our community will become. So, and that's kind of also my journey, my story as well. All right. So number two question you should ask any tax pro before hiring them: Are you open year round? Are you open year round? So you see some of these big box shops, the big boys, they got the big budgets that advertise to you about jumping out of airplanes to get great tax refunds, right? They've also gotten sued several times, and they're not there 365 days a year or 7 days a week. They usually come in usually between January and April, or maybe February. Well, January, April, January, May, and then they tend to close. Again, no shade to, quarterly tax pros that are really tax pros, but typically that is a sign that they don't do this all year long. I get tax business all year long. Anybody else that's worth their salt typically gets tax business all year long. So be careful about that. And again, that doesn't rule out everybody, but these are all warning signs that you should be thinking about when hiring a tax pro. All right. So question number three, y'all. Y'all with me? Question number three: How long have you been doing taxes? I've been in business for over 20 years. Started with my dad, so I'm second generation business owner, tax pro, but I don't just do taxes. But the length of time that they've been in the industry should, not always, should show a level of expertise. However, there are a lot of quote unquote OGs, quote unquote vets that only know one thing. They're one trick ponies. They haven't invested into their education. They haven't invested into their personal development. So you got to think about that as well. And actually that should have been another question, but I'll save that for another time. All right. So ask them, how long have they been in business? Okay. Number 4, do you have a PTIN? Now, what is a PTIN? A PTIN is the number that the IRS gives to tax preparers to identify them. All right, it's called a PTIN. All right, it is linked to each tax preparer's Social Security number. That number allows you to charge money to individuals and businesses, but basically consumers, for having your taxes prepared. If you don't have a PTIN, technically by law, you are not allowed to charge money for preparing taxes. So keep that in mind when you're out there interviewing people. Keep that in mind when you're out there looking to spend your hard-earned dollars. Keep that in mind. Okay. Number 5. Now, I'm gonna give you all a little bit of a warning. Number 5. It's a trick question. It's a trick question. How big of a tax refund can you guarantee me? Does anybody know why that's a trick question? I'm going to tell you. It's a trick question because no tax pro should be able to guarantee a tax refund to anybody. The only time that typically happens is when some illegal things are going on. Now, listen, I know there's a lot of people out there that think it's okay to defraud the government. I get it. Many people feel that paying taxes is a ripoff. I get it. Many people feel that paying taxes is illegal and it's unconstitutional. I don't get that one, but I get the mentality. I do feel we are overtaxed. And I do feel government is not a responsible steward when it comes to taxpayer dollars. But that's another topic for another day. However, I'll say that if a tax pro or tax preparer is saying that they can guarantee you a tax refund, a large tax refund, you should run. You should run quick, tie up your shoes, and bolt, because it is trouble waiting. A lot of times, I'm not going to say the profession, sometimes I do, but I'll say this. Sometimes municipal workers, people who work to help other people in emergency services, will say, I got a guy that'll help me, right? And they make up all these fake expenses, these fake deductions. Sometimes they'll make up fake businesses. Sometimes they'll go as far as making up fake real estate investment holdings. Because I'll be honest, the IRS's audit number is down. But guess what? Nothing stays the same forever. Guess who's hiring drastically? The IRS. Guess who's talking about stepping up enforcement? The IRS. So when you meet these people that are talking about doing all these quote unquote tricks to get you a higher refund, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And I'll share this story with you. Many, many years ago, I lost a couple of clients to a lady who was doing taxes, who did a lot of taxes, stole a couple of clients from me because she could get them a bigger return. So guess what happened after a couple of years? She winds up getting audited. And what the IRS does, the IRS, they will track the PTINs. This is why the PTINs are so important. They track PTINs and they look to see the irregularities that are being filed under each PTIN. So if they see all these wild expenses for, let's say, a business and things just don't make sense, and then they start to look at all the other returns that they prepare, and they see similar kind of expenses, which is called a pattern. They see a pattern. Everybody creates patterns, by the way, guys. Everybody creates patterns. You can't help it. It's part of human nature. So everybody creates patterns. The IRS is not stupid. They're not dumb, right? So they see these patterns, and they see the same pattern over an extended period of time from the same preparer or from the same tax preparation organization. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but some of those big box organizations have gotten sued for billions and billions of dollars for doing bad stuff. But I've talked about that in other episodes as well. But when they see that pattern, they will then open up a case, and they will then start to investigate. And once they investigate, they're investigating all of those folks. They're investigating the clients that go to this quote unquote janky preparer because they know something's up. Now, sometimes the clients or the people they don't know, they were just kind of caught up. They really didn't understand that it was illegal to do these things. They didn't really understand that they could get in trouble. But guess what? Ignorance is no excuse under the law. Nobody cares about that. Nobody got time for that. When IRS comes through and you did something wrong and you got a big fat refund, they pulling that back. And when they pull it back, you better be ready to pay the bill. Because if you can't pay the bill and it's a hefty enough bill, you will get a levy or a lien. And I say all that to say that none of this stuff is worth it. All right. So find you prepared. Remember, I said question number 5 is a trick question. If they can answer that question again, run. All right. Ask folks about their educational background. Ask them how long they've been in business. Ask them, do they have a PTIN? Right. Ask them how big of a refund can they get? And ask them, are they open year round? All of those questions, all of the answers to those questions should give you major clues about who you can work with and who you can't work with. And if you get a bad vibe, I would say fall back. And listen, this might seem like a commercial, but it's not. If you need help or you have questions, ask me, right? If you need a recommendation to a tax professional, ask me, because I know I work primarily virtually, but I know a lot of people like to meet tax pros in person a lot of times. I know a ton. I know a ton of ethical ones. It would be my pleasure to refer you to an ethical tax pro who's going to do your stuff right from the start. I don't get any compensation from it monetarily. The compensation I know is that I've helped protect one person in my community from not getting exposed to the IRS by a janky tax pro. So listen, anybody got any questions, any comments, leave them. You could always text me. Text me at, wait a minute, where's my phone number at? 484-278-1357. I'm operating a couple of different things behind the scenes, so y'all don't see everything. But you can text me questions, and I'll usually save up those questions like I do for yesterday's broadcast, where I'll do a Q&A. I do a Q&A every Wednesday. All right, so I just typically answer questions every Wednesday. I was on for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half last night. Other thing, a lot of people are looking to level up when it comes to their financial literacy, their financial education. Come join the Finance Rebel Academy. It's totally free. It's a group on Facebook, totally free on Facebook. We talk about money all day, every day. I think yesterday's question was, is a house an investment? I know there were some other things that were posted in there today that a lot of people were talking about. But again, I'm Kamari Ellis. This is the Finance Rebel Show. The whole goal of the Finance Rebel Show is to increase your IQ. We're here every day. Now, I haven't figured out a time, but I'm working on that. But I'm here every day, Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday. So again, I'll talk to y'all soon. I'll see you tomorrow during tomorrow's broadcast. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.